You know, there was a time, and honestly, it lasted years, where I genuinely believed that life would begin the moment I looked good enough. Like somehow, the real version of me was on hold. Waiting. Waiting for the day I'd finally lose the extra weight. Waiting for my skin to magically clear up. Waiting to afford the clothes I thought would finally make me look put together, desirable, confident. In my head, there was this alternate version of me. The better me. She was prettier, leaner, flawless. She knew how to pose, how to talk in a way that drew people in. And I thought she was the one who deserved the adventures, the attention, the relationships, the opportunities. So I kept postponing my own life. I'd scroll through Instagram and think, I'll start creating content when I look like that. I'd see people taking trips and whisper to myself, maybe later, when I feel more confident in my body. I would get invited to events or meetups and I'd decline, thinking, I don't want to be seen like this. I told myself it was temporary, that I was just waiting to glow up. But weeks turned into months, and months into years. And it hit me one day, I wasn't living. I was waiting. Not for time to pass. Not for a miracle. I was waiting to be beautiful. I had made my worth conditional. And I didn't even realize it. I believed that only a certain version of me deserved to be visible, celebrated, loved, even by me. And that's such a heavy, heartbreaking way to live, because you're constantly apologizing for your existence without saying a word. You're constantly telling yourself, not yet. And I wonder, have you been doing that too? Have you ever looked at your reflection and quietly decided, not today. I can't show up like this. Have you ever held yourself back, not because you weren't ready, not because you weren't capable, but simply because you didn't like how you looked? Maybe you've stopped yourself from dancing at a party, even when your heart really wanted to, because you felt like all eyes would be on your body. Maybe you've sat silently in a room full of people, afraid to speak up, not because you didn't have something to say, but because you didn't want people to see you. Maybe you've stared at a photo of yourself for too long, overanalyzing every little detail, your skin, your arms, your smile, and then decided, nope, this can't go up. Not because the moment wasn't beautiful, but because you didn't feel beautiful in it. And that breaks my heart. Because when did we start believing that our appearance determines our permission to be seen? When did joy become something we had to earn through filters, diets, makeup, and clothes? When did we start measuring our worth in angles and lighting and numbers on a scale? And more importantly, how long are we going to keep doing this to ourselves? How many memories are we going to delay? How many chances are we going to turn down? How much life are we going to miss? Because we're waiting to look a certain way before we allow ourselves to be alive? You weren't born to be beautiful by anyone else's standards. You were born to be whole, to feel, to experience, to live. And none of that requires you to change how you look, only how you see yourself. We live in a world that constantly whispers in our ears, you're not enough unless you look a certain way. And the thing is, those whispers don't stay outside us for long. They move in. They build homes in our minds. They start sounding like our own thoughts. We begin to believe it so deeply, so silently, that we don't even question it anymore. We stop seeing who we actually are because we're so focused on who we think we're supposed to be. Somewhere along the way, we forget that beauty was never supposed to be a prerequisite for joy. It was never meant to be the price of admission for a full, rich, expressive life. No one should have to earn the right to laugh loudly, to take up space, to be seen, to be loved. But we act like it is, don't we? We shrink ourselves physically and emotionally. We wear baggy clothes, not because we love the comfort, but because we want to disappear a little. We duck out of group photos, pretending we just don't feel like it, but inside, we're afraid we'll ruin the picture. We turn down opportunities, avoid compliments, hold back our joy, because we're scared that if people really see us, they'll see everything we're trying to hide. Our belly rolls, our acne, our awkward smile, our crooked teeth, our scars inside and out. We dim our light, not because we don't want to shine, but because we've been taught to believe that light is only for the flawless. But here's what I want to tell you. You were never meant to be flawless. You were meant to be real. And real is where life happens. Real is where connection is born. Real is where laughter echoes. Real is where you live. So the next time that voice inside you says, "Wait until you look better," I hope you answer back with, "No. I'm living now, as I am, flaws and all." But here's what I've learned, and I say this with my whole heart. You don't have to look a certain way to feel a certain way. Let that sink in. You don't need flawless skin or the so-called ideal body to be worthy of joy. You don't need a tiny waist or perfect eyebrows to be someone who gets to laugh till your stomach hurts, dance at weddings, or wear bright colors just because they make you happy. You don't need to be hot or trendy or Insta-ready to have a voice that matters. You matter right now in this body, with this face, in this moment. You don't need to be beautiful to be brave. You don't need to be beautiful to be kind, to be wise, funny, curious, or brilliant. Because none of those things are built in front of a mirror. They're built in how you live, how you love, how you show up, even when it's hard. I used to think that once I glowed up, life would finally begin. That I'd finally feel confident. That I'd finally be worthy of the things I wanted. But beauty doesn't guarantee happiness. It doesn't promise love. It doesn't protect you from pain. It doesn't make your soul any lighter or your laughter any louder. What does? Being present. Being here. In your life. Not on the sidelines, waiting for the day you finally feel pretty enough to join in. Happiness doesn't live on the other side of a makeover. It lives in the moments you choose to stop hiding. It lives in the courage it takes to take a photo anyway. To say yes anyway. To dance anyway. You don't have to change how you look. You just have to stop waiting. Your life is happening right now. And you're already enough to live it fully. So, stop waiting. Really. Just stop. Stop waiting to buy that outfit you've had saved in your cart for months. The one you secretly love, but told yourself you'd wear once you lose a few kilos. Stop waiting to book that solo trip because you're scared of being seen alone, or worse, being seen as someone who is no one. Stop waiting to go live on Instagram, or start your YouTube channel, or speak your truth, just because your skin isn't clear, or your smile isn't perfect, or you think your voice sounds weird. Stop waiting to be seen. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the glow-up, the validation, the moment where everything finally feels right. Stop waiting to fall in love with your life. Because the truth is, you are not here to decorate the world. You are not some object to be admired or rated or swiped on. You are here to live in it. Fully. Loudly. Softly. Honestly. Unapologetically. You are here to dance in your own skin, not hide it. To laugh loudly, even when people stare. To show up, even if your hair's a mess, your jeans feel tight, and your body doesn't match an Instagram trend that'll change next week anyway. You are enough. Right now. As you are. Not after. Not if. Not when. Now. Don't waste your one, wild, beautiful life waiting to feel pretty enough to live it. Live first. Because when you do, something shifts. When you start walking into rooms without shrinking. When you let yourself be in pictures without filters. When you start showing up like you belong because you do. That's when the real glow-up begins. Not the one they post about. Not the one that fits a trend. But the one that sticks. The kind of beauty that doesn't age. That doesn't fade. That doesn't rely on angles or approval. It comes when you start choosing yourself, exactly as you are. Studio microphone, pause. If this spoke to you, take this as your sign. To do the thing you've been putting off. To stop rehearsing your life and actually start living it. Not next month. Not when you get a new wardrobe. Not after you fix something. Today. Because life isn't waiting. And you don't need to either.